Okay, the eager beaver behind me here, or Mr. Frog, Toadsy there. This is a U1200 that we had built for a customer for two things. One of them is going to be for logging, getting into those hard to get areas without damaging the soil around you and whatnot. So it's a U1200, restored, made for a logging type application, forestry application. As you can see from the tree cage, the brush bar, protection for the factory headlights and all that stuff, that is for getting into the woods and whatnot. But we also added, it's damn near a 20,000 pound hydraulic winch sitting on the nose, so that's 2 speeds there. Bunch of bright lighting all the way through just for working in the evening, all that's fun and cool. But what makes this thing the eager beaver, or funny toadsies here, is if you look at the back, you'll be like, what is this crazy? Oh yeah, by the way, we also did a high mount for the exhaust so we don't set anything on fire. Keep it as high off the ground as possible. But this here, the race car wing, as you can see, this is actually, the Germans refer to a sprag. We would call it a ground anchor. This ground anchor is attached to the subframe of this unit, which is attached to 2 winches that are set at just under 20,000 pounds each. So they're 2-speed hydraulic winches controlled from the cab. This anchor, or sprag, goes down into the ground. We can control the angle through here on these adjustments. These teeth, basically, if it's hard ground, will lay it a little bit flatter, because as you push down and you winch the vehicle in, the vehicle moves backwards. The harder you pull, the deeper that ground anchor gets in the ground. On sandy conditions, we'll go more vertical. Hard ground, it'll go more horizontal flat. So this thing pushed all the way down will pretty much pick the back end of the MOG up in the air. And then what's going on from there is we've got 2 of these winches running through these fair leads that come up over the top of this. So the other thing that this thing is extremely good for is recovering stuck man cats. So big 68,000 pound trucks buried in the mud that nobody else could get to, because if we bring another vehicle of similar size to that, it's probably going down as well. This whole rig's probably sitting at around 12,000 pounds. You can see we did some recoil protection in the back of the cab. That's removable so you can still clean the windows. Insanely bright rigid light. They may have discontinued it, probably from liability or something, because this thing is ridiculously bright. You've also got some pockets here for doing rigging, snatch blocks. We've got super Griefsteg tire chains for this thing. It is an absolute beast. The thing's incredible off-road, and I guess if you go fast enough, it might do a wheelie from the downforce on this. Who knows? But what's really neat about the sprag design going into the subframe, no forces. The forces that are holding you in place, which are this, are transmitted into the subframe, which then in turn, you're gonna have to get a little closer to see this or whatnot. As this folds down through here, this locks underneath this position right through there, which then pulls this into the hooks even tighter, which then goes into this subframe. The subframe is what the winches are mounted to. None of the winches or subframe are actually putting any sort of forces on the truck itself. So this whole unit, including the sprag, is all kind of a self-contained deal that's on a piggyback of the Unimog. Because with this kind of force, if you double these guys up, we're looking at 40, 80, so I would say a safe 67 to 72,000 pounds of pulling force if you double both those lines up. So enough that you could actually fold that frame of that Unimog. But because all the sprag forces are transmitted directly to the subframe, directly to the winches, no damage is going to occur. Anyway, getting ready to deliver to the customer right now. I may go ahead and push the leg down and let you guys see what it looks like, how far this actually goes down. Interestingly enough, when we are putting it into use, which of course I didn't film because we're just busy, this thing, with it all the way down, will suck the suspension all the way down on the MOG itself as it keeps getting deeper and deeper in the ground. Harder pulls, the deeper their anchor gets. That way it keeps you from slipping. So this little 12,000 pound rig can pull a 60,000 pound machine, maybe even 70,000 pound machine with a lot of creativity, getting that bad boy unstuck. On the old eager beaver here, just think to yourself, if you can't put this blade in the ground because there's no locates, or there may be fiber optic lines, power gas, whatever, you're not gonna be able to stick the blade in the ground. But this pull point right here is designed so it goes underneath. You'll tie 2 giant cables or more running all the way out the front. You can tie it to a couple dump trucks or any really heavy semi truck. With the brakes locked up and this locked up, it actually gives you a lot of tractive force on the concrete, so this thing doesn't slide too terribly bad if you need to recover somebody that's off the road. So we would put little feet that go on the ends of the anchor teeth here, and then tie onto that, and everybody holds their brakes together and hopefully you can winch out. But as you can see, this thing is legit. We tried to make it as light as possible, but it's still heavy. So it's all 3/8 and a half inch material with a lot of webbing through there. And again, the ability to change the angle here. And then the tubing through here triangulates it all. So even if we have heavy side loading, it's not gonna fold this thing up. The key thing is though, it does have to be pulled all the way down, and that has to be resting against those lower 1.25 inch thick plates in order to make sure everything's all solid. It looks ridiculous, but believe it or not, that anchor will go that deep in the ground as you're winching, pulling hard on stuff. So you can see how crazy these forces are going into this setup. This is why this thing is so beefy. So pretty cool deal. I've worked with stuff like this over in Germany for much bigger applications. This is just a downsized version of it. So anyway, interesting stuff. We're always engineering something different here.